Ling. Now I'm going to present about the filler table for case study 7 and case study 8. Before I start my presentation, I'm going to introduce a little bit about filler table. What is filler table? F stands for facts, what we get from reading the question. I stands for ideas, what we generate to solve the question. L means learning issues, which knowledge we need to have in order to solve the question, and A means action plan, or in other way is resources we needed while solving the question. This structure table is helpful to overcome the problem solutions technique. Filler table is making our learning process more systematic. By following the filler table, eventually we will finish solving the case study and learn about the concept and topic which bring out by the case study. Let's back to the PowerPoint slide. The content of filler table in this PowerPoint shows only the simple point of each part. Now I'm going to talk about the filler table for case study 7. The hint we get in the case study is we have been asked to find out the least expensive route of telephone cable which connects A and B. A and B cover places on land and river. So it costs Rm 5,000 per km to lay the cable on land and 8,000 ringgit Malaysia per km to lay the cable across the river. The length of the land which is going to lay the cable on is 8 km while the width of river is 2 km. Next is ideas. The ideas to solve the case study is at first determine and highlight the route of the cable based on the figure provided. Then use the concept of Pythagoras theorem which is a squared equals to b squared plus c squared. Followed by the step which is forming a cost function with respect to x. Lastly, use the concept minimizing the cost function to find the least expensive route. For learning issues is which topic we need to learn, which values and variables are needed to form a differentiable function, and how to use the concept minimizing the cost to solve the problem. For solving this case study and understand better about the concept of minimizing the cost function, we have referred the example video tutorial on internet and also our lecturer's note. Now, let's proceed to the filler table for case study 8. The things we get from reading the case study is a rectangular page contains 24 square inches of print. Next is margin. For the margin of the page, the top and bottom is 1.5 inches each, and the left and right is 1 inch each. We are given task to find the dimensions of the page would be so that the least amount of paper is used. Now we have proceeded to the ideas part. Firstly, the most basic step is to determine and highlight the x, the y, and the margins in the figure given. Then, form an equation of area of the printed section in the rectangular page and rewrite the term in one variable. Continue by forming an equation based on the area and thus find the derivative. We have to use the method of minimizing the function while finding the dimension of page so the least amount of paper used. For learning issues is which topic we need to understand, which values and variables are needed during the formation of an equation for finding the derivative, and how to use the concept of minimizing function to solve the problem. For solving this case study and understand the concept of minimizing the function reform, we need to do research and understand from watching the example video tutorial and also with the aids of our lecturer's note. That's all from me. My groupmate will continue the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dharishini here with matrix number AA201254. I will discuss about the problem background of two cases, case 7 and 8 in our project. Before I go further, let me give a simple introduction about problem background. Well, problem background can be defined as the information that indicates the root of the problem being studied. We can also say that it is the appropriate context of the problem in relation to theory. In these cases below, we are going to discuss about the parameters involved in the problems. With that, there are two variables that we can find out from these cases respectively. In case 7, the first variable is price in the unit of Rm. We are supposed to calculate the price of the routes of the cable which connecting the river from point A to point B. With that, also found a variable of length in the unit of kilometer. In order to calculate the price of the routes, we need to know the total length of the river. On the other hand, in case 8, There are also two variables found with the same units, which is in inches. They are given the length and also the width of the piece of paper to find the least dimension of the paper. That's all about problem background of this project. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Neha Anapompan Sivakumar. My matrix number is AA201362. I did the part of doing the solution for case study 7 and case study 8. To solve case study 7 is first we need to differentiate the equation. After differentiating the equation, then put the equation equals to 0. Using that, you'll be able to find the value of x. After finding the value of x, it will be easier to find the cheapest route to apply the wires. For the answer that I got, cheapest route is 8.961 kilometers. Next, for case study 8, the solution is you need to find the size of the page needed the size of the page needed. First is to write down the equation for the total area of surface of the paper. Then using that equation, try to find x. So the x will be in terms of y. Then using the value of x in terms of y, sub it into the equation for the area. So you'll get, once you substitute the x with the x in y terms, then you'll differentiate the equation to get a different equation. Then to find the value of y equal to 0, you will get 4, and then sub the value of y into the previous x in terms of y equation. Then you'll get the value of x. To find the width is sub it into the equation. So you'll get width 6 inch, length you'll get 9 inches. And that's all. Thank you.
Hi, I will explain about the part conclusion. With the help of the application of the differentiation, we can solve the case 7 and case 8. When we solve the case 7, first we need to figure out the equation from the problem statement. Then we need to differentiate the equation that we find. After that, we need to let the y prime equal to 0 in order to find the x values. We can find out the least expensive road. For the case 8, we need to figure out two equations. Then we need to substitute the first equation into the second equation. Next, we need to differentiate that equation. Then let the a prime equals to 0 and find the y values. After we find the y value, we need to substitute the value of the y into the first equation in order to find the x value. Then we can find the length and the width of the paper. From the solution, we can conclude that differentiation is used in almost to solve everything. The only possible candidates for the x coordinate of the extreme point are the critical points and the endpoints of the domain epithets. Derivative is used to determine whether a function has many maximum or minimum values by first finding the critical points. Once the critical points obtained, we can find the extreme values of the function. For the cases that we solve, we need to find the critical points, then substitute the critical points into the original equation, then identify the extreme values. Differentiation is very important in many fields and has made great contributions. For an example, in economics, differentiation can be used to calculate the rate of the change of the ordering and transportation cost. With the use of the application of the differentiation, we can calculate the profit and loss in business using the graphs to check the temperature variation, to determine the speed or distance covered such as miles per hour or kilometer per hour. Derivatives are used to derive many equations in physics. We also can use the derivative to determine the maximum and minimum values of the particular function cost, strength, amount of material used in a building, profit and loss. Derivatives are used to derive many equations in physics. For the references, we refer many links in the internet. From these links, it helps us to solve the cases 7 and case 8. It helps to refer the example question tutorial in internet to get the concept of the minimizing cost. Next, we understand how to solve the problem-based learning, then understand clearly about the maximum and minimum. Then we also understand about the application of the differentiation and also understand clearly about the differentiation. That's all from our guru. Thank you.